champions don't skip the fundamentals. Champions don't skip the fundamentals. So in this meme here, there's all these pieces to get to success, and then the young gun here is trying to skip steps. And essentially what I'm finding, well, I'm just realizing, it's really been reflected to me how champions don't skip the fundamentals. And when we're bringing our passion into the world, when we're having a purpose-driven sales funnel, there's many different pieces. And if we skip them, the odds, the likelihood of success goes down, where your passion, purpose, and profit all align together. But if we do the fundamentals, things flow smoothly. So the reflection this week has been with one of the True Freedom partners. We launched her webinar. It was her first webinar in this new program that she's launching, where it's her passion, her purpose, her mountain of experience all coming together in a very simple niche, solving a very simple problem in a very valuable way, extremely valuable way. So one of the things with her is she was on the webinar in the beginning, and she's got one credibility PowerPoint, like we've distilled it down to every partner. They're one, excuse me, let me slow down. They're one respect bullet point, where if a person doesn't know anything about them, but they just hear that one respect bullet point, boom, they're like, okay, I'm listening. So each of us has that one. Mine is, I've generated over 500,000 leads online through my own passive income systems. And she didn't say hers on the webinar in the beginning. She skipped it. And fortunately, I've been through this so many times with myself that I've learned for myself and with partners is, well, I just learned for myself, like I might skip steps. So why don't I just put all of the essentials on the screen so that I remember? And even in the worst case, even in the worst case that I forget or I get flustered, at least it's on the screen that the viewers could take in their subconscious. So in that case, you know, a lot of things happen. We get nervous, all the energy is moving, and, you know, it just got skipped. So that's how I look at this from a systems standpoint, is these fundamentals. And I'm always looking at how do we have the right things on the slides or the page, that even if, you know, we're human and we get flustered and we, you know, move on or we skip it, that it's still part of the process. And I know for myself, in the past, and even I got to watch myself like, because I'll skip steps because I'll feel like, oh, they've already heard this, when they haven't. It's just that I've said this so many times that I feel like I'm like, oh, I'm repeating this to them. Nope. And that's why great artists, great musicians, great performers, they're delivering it like it's the first time. They're singing the song like it's the first time, because it could be that person's first time hearing it. So the reason why we could skip fundamentals is feeling like we're just repeating ourselves, or just flustered in the moment. We're doing something new, so there's a lot of new energy, and we're not as comfortable in the groove yet. That's number two. Number three, we could feel like we're bragging, you know, especially with that respect bullet point in this one. You know, I've felt like that. I just have to get over that. Because people need to hear that to be able to, their head needs to have the respect point so their ears can open up so they can really receive what you have to share. And another one is, you know, I think definitely at times in my experience, I've felt, if I'm truly get down to the core, I'm like, you know, I'm better than that. Like, I don't need to do that anymore. Like that was in my beginning. So I've got whatever reason, enough, whatever, to magic mojo, you know, to do this. I don't need to do that. And I think really the real reason for me is, or the reason that tends to be the root cause the most, is I like to innovate, and I like things to be new and fresh, and that's exciting to me. And that's really helpful in some areas where I'm always improving the purpose-driven sales funnels and helping with the partners. But in other ways, that's my Achilles heel, has been, of, okay, here's a plan of the fundamentals, and people need to hear these different things and these orders for them to feel connected and build the buying energy. And instead being like, oh, what's something new? And I'm getting away from the fundamentals. So all of this to say, that's the quote that's been in my mind. And I don't know who said it or if I'm paraphrasing, but if we look at sports athletes, they're always doing the fundamentals, dribble the ball, guard, protect, shoot, and then they'll add things and they'll add creativity on it, yet it's built from that base. So this quote is from Michael Jordan. He says, the minute you get away from fundamentals, whether it's proper technique, work ethic, or mental preparation, the bottom can fall out of your game, your schoolwork, your job, whatever you're doing. And this reminds me of my experience with jujitsu too. It's like, like a black belt has so many micro points that they're doing, let's say there's a choke around the neck and their legs and all these different pressure points that they're unconsciously doing, that they don't skip them. It's all happening. But it's become unconscious to the point where all these are happening. So yeah, that's been the lesson this week, the reflection. And I think there's one other item here. Sometimes skipping the fundamentals, but sometimes it's skipping steps of, we have something good here, so let's go 3 steps down the line and really get that other thing. And it's impatience on some levels, maybe it's greed. I mean, these are all things I've felt for myself. Big eyes, it's like having bigger eyes than your stomach can handle at this time, when you overeat, or when I have. And so it's like missing the fundamentals and then also trying to skip ahead as well. That messes up the path that we're on right now. So that's really been that has been in the air this week. And it's a mistake that I've made in so many different ways. And now I'm seeing myself really hold strong with this and guide others so that they don't have to fall into those like myself. And then also last thing I'll share is right now, as this recording, 2023, February, March has been a lot of turbulence for a lot of people that I know, professionally, personally, and there's been a lot of shifts. I mean, so many, and for myself included. And so that turbulence can be really offsetting. So the key for this for myself and others as well has been to have laser focus of the sequence. So let's anchor in the fundamentals, and then let's brick by brick walk this path, lay down the bricks in the path so that we don't skip steps as well, because otherwise there's just going to be too much going on at one time. Focus, brick by brick, lay the bricks. And the quote that I'll end here with, Grandpa Jack, quick story, is that he was leading a team to, I believe, do plumbing for a hotel complex of maybe 200, over 100, let's just say 150, something like that, 150 rooms. And they are on an expedited schedule and their backs are against the wall for some reason out of their control. And they needed to put in 150 bathtubs in an extremely short amount of time and do it all with perfection, have it be working, because otherwise it triples the cost, because they got to put it in, they got to take it out, and then they got to put it back in. So you do that once, it's painful. You do that 150 times, it's insane. So they needed to be on point, not skip the fundamentals, do all of the fundamentals to the finish line for 150 bathtubs. And the one thing he told them is something I think about with this is, we're not putting in 150 bathtubs. We're putting in one bathtub 150 times. We're not putting in 150 bathtubs. How are we going to do this? Putting in one bathtub 150 times. So that's the message for this week. See you next week.